Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to episode 3 of Food for Freedom podcast. I am having so much fun filming these, I can't even tell you, but I had the idea of this one to be a little bit different to the past two, but these are things that I would have killed to have known in recovery. So as someone who has now recovered, I wanted to share some insights and some things that are going to hopefully help you feel better about going into recovery, things that I believe are true now that I didn't believe were true before recovery. I completely understand how lonely the process is, constantly Googling and looking for answers to things, having these certain beliefs that no one can answer because you just don't know. It's very lonely, it's very confusing, it's very overwhelming. So I thought, what better way than to use my podcast to tell you loads of things that I would have killed to hear before I entered recovery, because, like I said, you want answers, you don't know things, you want to know things, you want someone to be there with you, you want someone to understand, and unfortunately not everyone has that. So here we go. I want to share with you everything that I wish and would have killed to have known while I was going through recovery. Number 1 is weight gain doesn't ruin your life, fear does. And I know maybe the position you're in right now, the one thing that is holding you back is weight gain. It's the one thing that holds everyone back when they're trying to heal their relationship with food. They don't know how it's going to go. No one knows what they're going to look like. Everyone's biggest fear is weight gain. How will I look? I'm going to hate myself. I can't do it because I'm going to hate myself when I recover because I would have gained weight. All of these things is fear. And fear is the thing that is ruining your life. It's stealing your life away from you as we speak. Every single human tend to have this negative bias in their brain that always thinks about the things that can go wrong in life. The what ifs, the what if I do this, the what if it goes wrong, the what if I look awful, what if people hate me, what if I'm no longer relevant because I've gained weight. Always the what ifs are the negatives. But what if the version of you is free around food is on the other side? What if the version of you who gets to eat whatever they want, whenever they want, without the guilt is on the other side? What if you actually love your body and have food freedom at the same time? What if there's the dream career waiting for you the other side? What if you can actually have the dream of being able to eat whatever you want whenever you want? I think something that we always forget is the likelihood of the best case possible is also possible. So you can actually love yourself on the other end and actually have gained weight but be okay with it. You can actually have food freedom and love your body at the same time. You can actually go out for a coffee with your friend again, not think about the calories in it, and still love how you look. There's so many positive what ifs that come with food freedom and come with healing your relationship with food that we never ever think about because our brain doesn't let us think about it. Our brain and the illness is latching into the what if of the negatives because it wants to keep us stuck. Everything comes back to wanting to keep us stuck. This terrible idea of weight gain that we have is our brain imagining what's going to happen. It's trying to predict the worst case possible for you so that you stay stuck. But the fear is the thing that is actually existing every single day and stealing your life while doing so. Fear is the one thing that is making you cancel your plans. Fear is the thing that's causing anxiety around food. Fear is the thing that's making you obsess over food. Fear is the thing making you live in your head. Fear is the thing associating your worth to numbers. So if you actually think about it, trying to stay the smallest version of yourself and listening to the fear, letting the fear dictate you every single day, you are slowly losing your life because of it. Every single day you are losing days of your life, days that you can spend working on your dream project, going out with your friends and family, being happy, waking up with a free, clearer mind. Do you know what I mean? I can promise you, as someone who has recovered, nothing bad, nothing terrible, nothing catastrophic that my brain made me believe would happen to my body has happened to my body. What did ruin my life was staying scared of my body changing by listening to the fear that's stealing my life every day. Those are the things that actually destroyed me. Those are the things that actually ruined my life, not gaining weight. And I think the thing that we all forget is when you gain weight, you gain all these experiences back. I can go out with friends and laugh again. I can go out for family dinner spontaneously. I can have my mum cook for me again. I can get people making home-baked goods and I can take part and enjoy them and say, that tastes so good, instead of like, I can't eat that, there's too much in it. Weight gain gives you your life back, but the fear that we are living in every single day is the thing that is stealing it. I will say it again and again. Fear is stealing your life. weight gain brings it back. And it's so sad because we're always first to blame our body for everything, you know, like if we have a bad day and we've seen our body in the morning, it's our body's fault. We don't like how our body looks. But the thing that we need to understand is our life isn't controlled by our body. Our life is controlled by our mind, and what lives in our mind is fear. So fear is controlling every single thing we do. How your life feels day to day comes from your thoughts, the things you believe, the things that you say to yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you talk to food when you're around it, how you perceive food, how you think after you eat food. But gaining weight doesn't change how you see your friends. Gaining weight doesn't change the experiences that you do. Gaining weight doesn't take away your smile, your laugh. Gaining weight doesn't create anxiety. Gaining weight doesn't tell you what you can and can't do. But guess what fear does? And the reason that we lean into it is because we've promised that it's keeping us safe. And it has conditioned us to believe that all of those things lead to weight gain. But when you constantly decide to nourish yourself, constantly decide to listen to it is what you want and what you want to eat, the fear has no choice but to come down, because you're proving to your brain that food is safe again. And if your body changes, that's something that you have to accept, because your life is opening back up. Life is so much bigger, better, quieter, calmer when fear stops taking control of everything that you do. Your brain runs better when it's fed. But unfortunately, if you're not eating enough, if you're constantly restricting, if you're constantly listening to that fear voice in your head, the thoughts are going to remain loud. Your life will remain getting smaller and more stricter, more tightened, more rigid. But gaining a little bit of weight, gaining healthy weight back, like I said, opens your life to whole new opportunities. And it tells your brain, hey, we don't need to fear anymore because food is constantly coming to us. Food is safe. We like food now. We're allowing ourselves to gain weight and nothing bad has happened. If anything, everything has got better. So with that being said, weight gain does not ruin your life. Weight gain makes it a whole lot better, a whole lot quieter. But the fear that I've constantly explained is the thing that is keeping you stuck. And by recognizing the fear, that is one of the bravest things you can do. Number 2, and this is one that we all have fallen into at one point, and it's the fear of, feeling out of control when you finally let yourself start eating more, when you finally start trying to recover your relationship with food, you feel out of control. Okay, so point number 2 is the version of you that eats freely around food is not out of control. You're not reckless. They're safe. So I'm going to dive into a little bit of the extreme hunger here. And, when you go through extreme hunger, you find that you are eating more, you are trying to listen to your body, trying to eat things you like. And it is typically things that we perceive as, higher calorie things that are higher in sugar, things that we would not let ourselves have before, and you constantly crave them. And also you feel like you can't stop after eating them. You feel like you're out of control around them. You feel like, I'm eating so much more than everyone else, but I'm eating way too much more than anyone else, and I'm still not full. I can keep going. Like, you actually get concerned about your appetite because you're like, see, this is what I mean. I eat way too much. I'm going to get so fat. I can't possibly not get fat by the amount I'm eating. That is normal. You are not out of control. When your body has been in a restrictive state for so long, it does not trust that you are going to feed it. It does not know when you are going to feed it. It's been so unreliable that all the trust has gone. So when you finally start to eat more, your brain still thinks that food is unreliable because it hasn't been consistent enough yet. So because you're eating more, it's going to panic and it's going to say, we need to get this in now. We need to keep going, because we need to build that trust again. We need to know that we're going to get fed when we want to be fed. So when food finally becomes available, the brain does exactly what it's meant to be doing, and it prioritizes it. It makes sure that you get enough in. It makes sure that you constantly keep going so that it knows, hang on a sec, we're finally getting fed. We don't need to panic anymore. And this isn't a quick thing. It will go on for some time. I've done a TikTok about this actually, where I spoke about how you're paying debt back to your body. So for example, if you have a house and your house costs £200 a day, but for a long time you've been giving it £10 a day, not only are you in debt from the £200 a day for letting the body run and doing its thing, things are starting to break. Things are starting to fall apart. Your hunger cues are broken. That could be a leak in the roof. Your hormones are all messed up. That could be, a crack in your door. So not only are you in debt for the daily cost of the house, but you now have debt for all of the breakages. So of course it's going to take time, that when you're paying yourself more, when you're giving yourself more food, it's going to take time to fill up that deficit that it's been in and also repair everything. So you have to know that, and you have to trust that you are not out of control around food. You are just building trust with your body again. You are showing your brain, you are showing your body that food is reliable. I'm going to keep feeding you. I'm going to listen to what you want, because I'm desperate to build that trust up with you again, because I want that food freedom. I want to feel free around food. I don't want to live in fear around food anymore. So you cannot beat yourself up when you feel like you can't stop eating, or when you constantly crave things, or you're constantly thinking about food. That is the uncomfortable part of the journey that you have to go through and you have to push through. And with time, I promise you, your hunger cues and your signals and everything will start to fall into place with time. Your body will start to trust you again. Food will stop becoming so urgent in your brain, because every day you are giving it a constant supply and you're not restricting. You have to change the behaviours around food in order for your life to change. You have to lean into the extreme hunger, trust it, know that that out of control feeling is completely normal. And going on to the safe part about the fact that you will finally be safe around food, there will be a day after you have passed this really uncomfortable part of your journey where food will start to become a bit easier. You won't fear things as much. You will start to realise you can go out on these spontaneous things. You can incorporate new foods into your life and it not be a problem, not something that you dwell on for a long, long time. Instead, it will just feel normal. Instead, it will feel exciting. These are all things to come and things to hold on to. And things that finally start to feel safe is, for example, you can be going out for dinner and you can be the only one at the table ordering a dessert, and you will feel safe doing that. You won't feel greedy. You won't feel like, oh, maybe I don't get the dessert because no one else getting dessert, I'm so greedy. You'll feel like, no, I've got a sweet tooth now. I need a sweet treat. Anyone else getting pudding? No. Okay, that's fine. I'll have a sticky toffee, please. You know, there's countless times where I've gone out with people, and it will be with friends as well, and it's so easy to be like, oh, no one's getting anything, so I just won't. No, I can't relax until I have a pudding. So, you know, please, can I have a pudding? It doesn't matter if no one else is having it. I can have it. That doesn't mean I'm greedy. It doesn't mean I'm any less of a person. It means I've healed my relationship with food, and now I honour my cravings. And, you know, the way I see food and the way I am around food doesn't define me. It doesn't mean I'm any less of fitting in just because I want a pudding and no one else does. That's safety. Like, to me, that feels so safe, and that feels something that was so impossible. Another thing is going to the cinema and ordering popcorn, not bringing your own snacks that you've already counted at home. You can go there, you can have a bag of popcorn. You don't have to finish it. Just because it's in front of you doesn't mean you have to finish it, but you eat as much as your heart desires, as much as your body desires, as much as you desire. Maybe you do eat the whole thing. There is nothing wrong with that. It's safe. It's part of a human experience. It's part of fun. It's part of life. You will go to these things that feel so unsafe right now, and you will feel safe doing them. Another thing that feels safe to me now is going out for dinner and not checking the menu before I go. Another thing that feels safe is realising that hours have passed without food. Like, you feel safe and know that you are in control of when you eat, how much you eat, what you eat. Those days will come and you will feel so safe doing them. I promise you. So going through that uncomfortable period where you feel obsessed with food and you feel like you're out of control around food brings the safest version of you. I cannot stress that enough as someone who never ever saw that safest version of them coming. So that's definitely something to hold on to, and something that I never would have saw coming. So I do think that's really important that you know that that's on the way. I do feel like the last bit about that point is the discomfort will feel like the biggest thing in the world. It will feel huge. It will feel like you want to go back to the voice and, you know, start controlling everything, fall back into the things that you're comfortable doing. But I promise you, the discomfort is temporary. And once you know that, it will help you. But the payoff is absolutely huge. Like, it's life-changing. The payoff is so big that you will look back and see the temporary discomfort was so worth it. Even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. The moments that your brain is screaming at you, telling you you're a fat, horrible monster, that you need to restrict, that you need to make up for it, they're all temporary signals. They're all temporary alarms from your brain and the voice trying to keep you stuck, trying to keep you controlling everything. Number 3 is something that I definitely experienced, and I know you will experience that thought too. You are not obsessed with food, okay? You are not greedy. You are not different. You are not abnormal. Food is just somewhere that your fear is landing. You know, eating disorders are all about control and all about being able to control things. So it is a way of controlling all the uncertainty and fear in your life. When you are going through eating disorders or recovery, it's so easy to think like, oh my God, like I am so obsessed with food. You know, I'm around people, no one else is thinking about food. I'm in conversations and I'm so tuned out because I'm thinking about what food I'm going to eat, what I'm going to eat later, if I eat this now, what I'll eat tomorrow. Everything is pre-calculated. Everything is always constantly going on in my head. Going on in my head about food 24/7. And it made me feel like so greedy. It made me feel like, see, this is exactly what I mean. If I let go of food control, I'm going to get so fat because all I think about is food, or I'm going to go so out of control around it. I can't control myself around food. I'm so greedy. I always want to eat. I'm always thinking about things I want to be eating. I'm watching people eat. I'm salivating over people eat. Of course, that's going to make you feel greedy and obsessed with food because your brain is essentially obsessed with food. It's making it the front priority in your brain to listen so that you will eat because it's panicking that you're not getting food. It's hyper fixating on it, so it's going to make you obsessed with it, but it's not the obsessed that you think it is. You think it's a greedy obsessed, but it's just your brain is obsessing over food because it needs it, it wants it, but you are not greedy, you are not abnormal. Food was just used as something to control, something to isolate us, something to make life feel certain in loads of uncertainty, because your brain is just like, oh, if we can just control our body and control food, then at least we'll feel safe, at least we'll have some relief there, at least we'll feel discipline there. It makes you believe that smaller feels safer, it makes you believe that smaller, being the smallest version of you, is acceptable. So all of that stops becoming a goal and starts becoming your identity, something that you feel safe in, something that you only find relief in doing. So your brain latches onto it, and once your brain latches onto something that provides safety, provides relief, provides certainty, it holds it tight. It will hold it so tight. So then all of the obsessions and the thoughts get louder, and that's not because you're greedy. It's not because you're obsessed. It's because food has become your tool to manage uncertainty, to manage fear, to manage feeling out of control. And should I tell you why? Because food has rules. You follow the food rules. You know the numbers of everything. Food is the only thing that you can focus on when everything else feels unclear, when everything else feels uncertain. You can just turn back to food and it will make you feel some sort of safe. And that's why it feels constant. That's why it can feel embarrassing. That's why it can feel like it's the only thing that you think about. And this is so important to know because this is where you can actually start rewiring. So, you know, the thoughts don't just change overnight. They don't just stop suddenly when you realise this. But what does unlock is the fact that you can now change how you respond to thoughts. So when thoughts around obsessing over food come up, you can stop them, you can interrupt them, you can ask yourself, what do I need today? Why is my brain doing this to me? You know, why are these thoughts coming up? And then you can start finding your own ways of how to provide safety to your brain, how to tell your brain, it's okay, brain, I'm going to feed you today, I'm going to feed you every day. How can you show yourself that every day? How can you interrupt the thought and make your eating disorder scream? How can you go against the eating disorder? You might not be able to do it straight away, but interrupting the thought is so powerful. This allows you to feel a little bit more stable, a little bit more safe around food. You'll be able to eat things without that fear because you're knowing why it's showing up. You're knowing why the obsession is there. And slowly your brain will start to realise that fear doesn't have to live here anymore. Fear doesn't have to keep showing up and ruining my whole entire life. And over time, the fear loses its control and your brain starts to open up to more things in life. Happier things, things you want to do, things you want to experience. So the goal with this is to not be someone that never has an anxious thought, never goes through any kind of bad thought, but it's someone that doesn't have to respond to them to feel safe anymore. So there will be one day that you will have fear thoughts come up, you'll have food obsession thoughts come up, and you will know how to interrupt them. And then when you know how to interrupt them, every day you can go against the voice, and that has no choice but to bring you into a life where you don't need the thoughts to control you anymore. You don't need the thoughts to show up and rule your life for you anymore. You'll know how to respond to them in the best way possible that pushes you forward. Hey, sorry to interrupt. I really hope you're enjoying listening. I just want to let you know that I do have a free resource linked in my Instagram bio, in my TikTok bio, that tells you my method that I use to help approach new foods, how I would understand my thoughts, how I would approach my thoughts. And I feel like understanding your thoughts is a very big unlock when it comes to facing new foods, because you are able to grip back the power, understand your thoughts, approach food with new thoughts, understand where your thoughts are coming from, where your fears are coming from. It's completely free. You can sign up There's a video, there's also a grounding video for when food feels a little bit hard, so you can sign up to that. I also have other resources in my bio as well that I feel like will be helpful for you on your recovery journey, all based on my experience, all things I use to help me get where I am today. So feel free to go check those out, and I always want to make sure that you have access to any help when you need it. Anyway, I'll let you listen again. So the next one is, the rules in your head feel logical because they're repeated, not because they are true. Let me tell you what I mean. So basically, familiar doesn't mean it's safe, it means it's practiced. And I spoke about this the other day in a TikTok again that I made, and it was about how not only do the thoughts feel extremely, extremely convincing, but also they are so convincing because they're in your own voice. So the voice of the ED has come in, it's learned what you're scared of, it's learned your fears, it's learned how you respond to things, and it will repeat everything back to you, its own rules, its own regulations, in your own voice. So not only are we dealing with these thoughts that seem so logical and real, but they're in our own voice. So it feels like, okay, we need to follow them because they must be safe, they must be keeping us safe because it's in my own voice, this is what I should be doing. When really it's the complete opposite. We have been exposed to things, we have believed things that aren't necessarily true and looked for proof in them to keep proving that they're true, and then we have repeated this thought. It's been stored in a proof bank in the back of our brain, so that whenever we're presented with food and whenever we're shown food, we go into our brain and we pick out this receipt and we go, hey, here's the proof that food is bad, because we've stored it. And we think it's logical and we believe it, but it doesn't mean that they're true. So there are so many things going on in your reality, and your brain can only filter the tiniest bit of it, but it will filter exactly what you focus on. And our focus is on what we fear, and that is food. And we will constantly look for food fear. We will constantly look for things to keep us away from food. So our brain is just filtering that tiny bit of information, and every day our proof bank is getting stronger with reasons to stay away from food and to fear food. And that is why eating differently in recovery can feel so terrifying, because you are going against a pattern that you have repeated day in, day out for years maybe. You are going against it, you are breaking it. Of course it's going to feel terrifying, but it doesn't mean the thoughts that come with breaking that pattern are true. So things that my brain used to say to me are like, oh, you've gone overboard with that, you're going to gain so much weight, you shouldn't have done that, you've overdone it, you need to make up tomorrow, you need to start again on Monday, we'll do it seriously this time, no messing around, I need to do this, you can't eat that. So many rules. And of course I repeated them every single day, and every single day I repeated them because I believed them. They got stronger. So strong to the point they just become automatic. Like, you don't even think you're doing them, you don't even realise that you're doing them, but it's just your automatic response to everything. You ask out for dinner, you start compensating in your head. You do this, you do that. It is just automatic, and it's draining. You realise that it's automatic, but you can't come out of it because it's the only thing you know, it's the only thing keeping you safe. But it's not the truth. Them thoughts are not the truth, they're literal training. It's trained your brain to fear food, to stay away from it, to keep you stuck. It's training, and we can retrain ourselves to realise that those thoughts are not true. And that's why you might feel some sort of things where you eat a day that's like, you feel like is a normal day of eating, and you feel like this extreme guilt, or when you try food that you feared, you start wanting to restrict and compensate. But none of that means that you've done anything wrong, and you need to identify that. You need to know that when those thoughts come up, that is not you doing anything wrong. They're not the truth. That is your brain trying to pull you back to what it knows. I think the most life-changing thing that you can say to yourself, and I used to say to myself, was when a thought came up that felt like the truth, but I knew it wasn't the truth, I would pause to myself and say, this thought is just familiar. It doesn't mean that it's true. What can I do that is going to make the voice really, really mad? What am I going to do to go against the voice? What am I going to do to show the voice that this fear isn't true, and that I'm actually finally fighting back? I'm fighting back for my life. So when we go back to that proof bank in our brain, every time that we eat without restricting, every time we interrupt this thought, every time we tell the thought, this is just a pattern, it's not the truth, we are adding new evidence to our brain, and that is going to be stored in the evidence bank. But you have to mean it, and you have to not go back on it. So in order for the receipt to be kept and wanting to be used again, you have to stick to your guns. You have to eat the food, own it. Tell yourself, what my ED voice is telling me is fear. It's familiar. It is not true. If you keep believing those thoughts that your ED voice is telling you, they are going to keep you stuck. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I promise you. I really promise you I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just trying to help you understand that you have to identify these thoughts as fake and give your brain new evidence that food is safe and you deserve food. You will always be so deserving of food. So this is one that I really struggled with, and it is: no one is watching you eat the way you think they are watching. The only person judging what you eat is yourself, is the voice in your head. I used to go out for dinners. I used to really hate going, like, eating in front of people, or like, you know, if there's like you're doing this like picky bits in the middle, or like help yourself dinners and things like that. Oh my gosh, I used to hate these for the fact that I would have to lean across the table, pick what I wanted, and my god, at the time I'd want all of it. Of course I'd want all of it. And I wasn't allowed all of it. But then when I'm picking bits, I'm like, oh my god, I really want to lean over for a roast potato, let's say, but everyone on the table is going to think, you've already had one helping of roast potatoes, why are you getting another? You're so greedy. You are so greedy. And I would wait for someone to make a comment about me eating, or like, because I was so hyper aware of people watching me and thinking they're going to be judging me. And I also had this when I was growing up as well, where like I'd get this massive anxiety about ordering what I wanted in front of people, because it's like this thing of, if I order that and someone else orders something healthier, like, I'm so greedy, I've got no control, you know, I'm so fat as it is, they're just going to think, of course you're going to get that, you're so fat. And it's like, I truly, truly believed that everyone would be judging how much I was eating and just disgusted by me. But the only person judging what you eat is you. The only person keeping score is you. The only person putting yourself down and saying all these thoughts is you. My brain would constantly be looking for validation of people are judging me outside of me, when it was just me. It was just me being so awfully horrible to myself. And it's the same thing about, like, say if you're like wanting to maybe eat something that feels a bit more uncomfortable, and you ask people around you, because sometimes it can feel, I know sometimes people feel safer asking people to eat with them, sometimes people feel safer doing it on their own. But say for example you were like, oh, I'm gonna have, I don't know, a piece of cake. Does anyone else want a piece of cake? And because no one else around you is dealing with disordered eating, they don't fancy cake, so they say no. So then you're like, oh, actually, yeah, I now don't want it because no one else is having it. And it's like, that's you looking for validation that you are greedy and that you are out of control, when you're not. It is just your brain trying to look for evidence that you shouldn't be eating this food, when really you should be eating this food. No one is judging you. Like I said earlier, you can be the only one at a table ordering dessert after everyone else has finished their 2-course meal, and the world will still turn. No one will go home and think, oh my god, Niamh ordered dessert after a 2-course meal, and think about it for weeks saying how greedy I am and how awful I am. If anything, I actually love doing it. I think it's actually quite iconic. Honestly, I'm known at the table for, I have to have a sweet treat, I have to have a dessert. Like, no matter how full I am, I will always have room for dessert. Iconic. You are allowed to enjoy food, you're allowed to take part in food, you're allowed to eat as much food as you want without having to explain it to yourself or anyone else, or even thinking that anyone else is judging you. I promise you, no one is watching you eat. It is all stemming from the voice inside your head talking to yourself. You're not selfish, you're not greedy, you're not out of control. You are free. You are free to be the only one eating dessert. You are free to be deciding that you want this and no one else is going to have it, but I'm still having it. Do you know how big that is? To be able, after going through disordered eating, to be able to pick out a snack for yourself and say, do you know what? No one else is having it, but I fancy it. This is my power. This is my power to listen to my hunger, to listen to what I want. I'm going to have it. That is so powerful, and anyone who's done that should be so proud of themselves. And if you haven't yet got to that point, you can do it. And just think of me when I'm telling you, no one is watching you eat. No one. No one. It is you talking to yourself. The next really important thing that I would have killed to have known is there is nothing special waiting for you at your goal weight. One of the things that kept me suffering for so long was there was this promise of relief, of confidence, of my best self at a goal weight, you know. Oh, I'll stop when I get to that weight. Oh, I'll feel so much more confident when I'm at this weight. Oh, I'll be able to wear this when I'm at this weight. Oh, it's okay, I'll only go on a diet for a bit till I reach this weight. It never, ever, ever goes like that. Never. The amount of life I have postponed and put off because I have let myself wait till I get to a certain weight is just so upsetting. So, so, so upsetting. I tell myself, oh, I'll feel so much better when I get there. Did I? I felt so much worse. I felt so much more miserable. I felt so much more trapped. Your brain doesn't change how it thinks just because you've gotten to a certain weight. It doesn't suddenly start trusting food. It doesn't suddenly stop scanning for danger around food. If anything, the grip just gets tighter and tighter and tighter the more you chase a goal weight, because I'll tell you what, the goalpost always changes. You get to a certain weight, but your eyes don't see what the weight is reflecting. You don't ever feel happy because your brain keeps pushing you to want more. You will never ever see what you want because the goalpost will always keep moving, and that is the danger of it. That is the trap. I would push, keep pushing myself until I couldn't push myself anymore. There was physically no more to do, yet I still didn't see it. I still wanted to keep going. That's why people feel worse when they reach their goal weight, because it's like you now feel like if you do anything to change this weight that you've got, you will lose control. You're so scared of messing it up. You're so scared of it changing because you've managed to control this weight. You feel relief at this weight. You were promised confidence at this weight, and if you change it now, you'll be so out of control and you'll feel so much worse. The peace that you are imagining from this goal weight isn't attached to the goal weight. It's attached to feeling safe. And let me tell you something, safety isn't created by shrinking yourself to the smallest version, to following all these rules. It is the most unsafe thing for you. Safety is found in feeding yourself consistently, listening to your hunger signals, listening to your cravings, allowing yourself to eat till you're full, allowing yourself a snack even though you just had lunch, allowing yourself to go out for a coffee, allowing yourself to go out with your family, allowing yourself to take part again. That is safety. Healthy weight is safety. This whole dream facade life thing isn't waiting for you at your goal weight. It's waiting for you when you heal your relationship with food, when your brain can open itself to possibility, when you can experience life again guilt-free. That is where the life is waiting for you. And that is where the safety will be found. So the last one for me is the most important one, okay? You will not lose yourself in recovery. You will actually find yourself. And oh my God, I've actually got goosebumps from that because I can't tell you how much I mean that. Honestly, one of the biggest fears I faced before going into recovery was I would lose who I was. If I didn't have rules, if I didn't have things to follow, if I was at my smallest self, I'd lose who I was. Who would I be? I'd be messy, I'd be lazy, I'd be probably really fat, I'd be out of control. I wouldn't know what else to focus on because I've only controlled food for my life. Like, I could not imagine a life without numbers. But what you need to realise is you are not protecting yourself. You are not protecting yourself by staying in these rules, by staying in these numbers and restrictions. You are hiding from yourself. The voice in your head is going to tell you that all that fear you have is intuition, that all of the rules you have are your personality, and that all the control you have is your strength and your discipline. So of course the idea of letting go feels like losing yourself, feeling like part of yourself is missing, feeling like you're not going to know what to do when you stop following all the rules. But I will keep saying it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That voice isn't yours. That voice is not yours. And I said at the beginning of this video, it sounds like you. I know it does. It sounds logical. It sounds like you. It's copied your voice. It's copied your fears, your insecurities. It talks to you as if it knows you, as if it's your friend, as if it's keeping you safe. But the moment that you realise that that voice is not you, that is the biggest shift. Because you can learn to start separating yourself from the voice. You can say, hey, voice, shut up. I'm eating what I want. I'm eating my banana and chocolate chip muffin with my coffee because I want it. Because my mum's having a cake with her coffee and it's not the end of the world. And I actually want a cake. I want a cake. Every fibre of my human body wants a cake. So why am I going to let this stupid little voice that's pretending to be me anyway tell me I can't have a cake? I've already eaten things before and nothing bad has happened. By eating the cake, I am showing to myself I'm deserving of food. I'm fighting the voice in my head that isn't mine. And I went on a bit of a tangent there, but sorry, I am passionate about it. I am so passionate about it. The voice is not your own. The real you does not calculate anything. The real you does not tie their worth to numbers. The real you does not skip things because they feel like they don't deserve it. The real you does not think about their body anymore in a thing that is horrible. They think about it in acceptance. The list absolutely goes on. The real you is the one that has realised the voice isn't theirs. They are so much stronger than the voice. They deserve a whole... They have been put on this planet to provide so much that is more than just their body, that is more than just what they eat. Food is not meant to take up the amount of space it takes up in our brains, unfortunately, and it's not our fault. But the moment that you realise that it's only a voice in your head that is telling you that, you can take back the power. And I'll tell you what, you cannot take back that power by listening to the voice and getting smaller, by listening to the voice and restricting everything that you eat. The real you doesn't live on the side of fear, on this side of disordered eating. The real you doesn't live on the side of weight loss, on the side of restriction, on the side of fear. The real you lives across that bridge I spoke about in the last episode of weight gain being the bridge that gets you to the food freedom self. Yeah, that's where the real you lives. I can't stress to you, the biggest risk that you could take is not the risk of losing yourself. It's the risk of never being able to meet your real self. I'll tell you what, eating does not take away who you are. It creates this space for you to finally come back, to finally pursue your dreams, to finally experience life. You know, there's so many things that I have done this year that I would never have been able to do when I was in it, because I couldn't see anything past the food on my plate. I couldn't see anything past about what I was eating the next day. This year, I went to America for a month. I toured America for a month. I saw the most amazing things. I ate freely for 4 weeks straight. I ate out every day. You know, I had no idea what I was going to be eating every single day, and that didn't even bother me. That was the world's biggest fear when I was in it. But I would never have been able to do that if I listened to the rules and restrictions that were keeping me stuck. Think for me. Think about all the things that you want from your life. Please, please think of them and write them down. Write them down and then think, oh my God, I cannot experience all of these right now because I am obsessing and focusing on one thing that is actually the medicine to me going and doing these things. You are so much more than a voice inside your head that tells you to be smaller. You are so much more than a voice inside your head that tells you not to eat. You bring so much more purpose to this world than just keeping yourself away from everyone, to isolating yourself, to not taking part. You are so much more than that. I was so much more than that. The things that I held back because I let a voice in my head dictate everything I was doing. I didn't even like the voice. I wanted the voice to go so much, yet every day I would listen to it. Why? Because I felt like my worth was tied to that voice. I felt like I couldn't be bigger than the voice, but you can. You can be so much bigger than the voice because you now know. I've told you, you now know that that voice isn't yours. And the moment that you go into your head and you pick that voice out and you say, hey, voice, I'm now recognising you as the voice. I'm now recognising you as not part of me. I can do what I want with you now and you will listen to me. I am not listening to you anymore. I'm going to live my life. I'm getting my life back one step at a time. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and I know you're going to keep coming and you're going to keep telling me to restrict and stay in my disorder, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm choosing the power back for me. I'm choosing the power back for me to prove that I am so much bigger than a made-up voice in my head that has just learned patterns of fear and control and is keeping me stuck. I was able to eat food before my eating disorder, and now I'm taking that back. I'm taking back the one essential, necessary thing that I need to be a human being, and I'm not tearing myself apart for it. The voice is not yours. The biggest unlock you will know. You will be able to see everything differently from a different voice now. So this is permission for you to recognise which voice is yours and which voice is the ED. What do you want and what does the ED want? That is going to help you so much on your journey. So those are just a few things that I would love to have grabbed my little self, shook her and said, these are the things that you need to know going through recovery. These are things from someone who has done it, from someone who has really feared it, and I just really hope they bring you a bit of clarity, a bit of, strength, a bit of empowerment to really help you on your steps in recovery. And I wish you a world of happiness. I send you a ton of strength, and I just want you to listen to this whenever you need to and know that life outside of recovery is going to be the best thing you have ever done. It's going to be the best choice you have ever made for yourself. Recovery is what we want. Recovery is what we need, and recovery is what we're going to do. And I know you can do it, okay? So with that being said, Thank you so much for listening, and I am so excited to catch up with you on the next episode.